Hello and welcome to the next episode, the third one, on the topic of L119A2 fully custom build from scratch with the kit from HAO for Tokyo Marui. We already did some progress. As you can see, I'm increasingly more tactical, but I'm still not there, so to reach even higher levels of tacticality, I need to finish this build. If you watched the last part, this is where we ended up. So we have already the upper receiver assembly, lower receiver assembly partially done. So it's time for the next step of the assembly, where I will install some of the missing parts from the kit, like the firing selector, the bolt catch lever, the magazine release. And while doing this, I will mount also the latest release HPA GBBR conversion from Frog Engineering, dedicated for the Tokyo Marui MWS system, running on these special, probably known to you, 3D printed custom magazines that you can do yourself. And as I did in previous steps, I will be using the remaining parts of the L119A2 kit for the MWS from HAO. And here we go with the third stage, which is not yet the last stage of the assembly of the beautiful L119A2, like I said a moment ago. So we will be mounting the conversion for the HPA. I don't have all the parts lying here because there is a lot of it, but I have the conversion main body, I have the trigger guard. In general, you will see that I won't have a trigger guard like dedicated for the gun because I have the special one for the kit. And this is the special one dedicated to HAO conversions because for the MWS the TM base gun has a completely different trigger guard style, the mounting and the shape, than the HAO has, than the Noveskis have, so all of them are different, just for information. As I said, I will be mounting this one, and for this I need some different parts which are still missing in the gun. Of course, I will need to take off the ergo grip, which I already tried. It's pretty nice. This is the ambidextrous version, so it's very thin. It's like pretty weird because this is not the shape I am used to, but anyway, in my hand it's quite nice. We will see when all the controls are in place how it will play together. For the gun I will need some parts for the conversion, and this means that I will use these seals for the top from Guns Modify, and I need a valve, and here I have a 9-ball high flow valve for the MWSs and high kappas. So these two will go into the conversion, and I need this main trigger assembly, and I have here from Guns Modify the assembly. It's pretty nice, steel parts. You can see how it looks like, so it's pretty solid. I'll see how good this is in practice. There is a lot of parts, as you would expect. There is this bolt catch arm that goes on this side. Yeah, so that's this. There is also the bolt catch with the spring, which I will obviously need. I don't have the base gun for this. There is a fire selector, nice, made of steel, that I won't use because I have one dedicated for the L119A2. There is also a bag of additional parts, and this is something I wonder about. I see here, obviously there is the pin for mounting in the receiver. There are some screws for setting the hammer and the trigger. They have some holes. I will show it later in more detail, and you probably regulate this or set it somehow with these parts. And what's interesting, I never understood it, when you look on this trigger mechanism, it's kind of doubled, yeah, so already now it could work, yeah, so it has the full auto sear on the rear here, it has this connector inside, it has the trigger, it has the hammer, like everything is in here, but also they have this lever that rides here on the side and like a second block that goes in here, and it's like doubled security or whatever, safety for the firing mechanism. Honestly, I don't really know what's the purpose. Maybe this is some gun law in Japan, whatever. When I'll be working with this part, I'll think if I want to use it or not. And there is the mech catch that I also don't really need because the mech catch I have the HAO one. So I put all of this for the moment back in the box. In a moment we'll get back in here. In this step I will be mounting also the dust cover. I have a part from Angry Gun, nice steel part, and I still have 4 or maybe like 3 sets of parts from HAO, meaning I have the bag with the file selector, I have the bag with the Mag catch, ambidextrous one, I have a bag with the pins. I imagine these are the pins for the axis, the 4th part, that goes in here, and you secure it with these pins. How does it go? Yeah, so it would go like this. Yeah, it falls out, and these pins probably are to be put here to secure it in place. So at the end, when I will assemble everything and I will be sure that it works, everything fits, I will also mount this axis with the dust cover and have the complete assembled gun this way. For now I need to start with the conversion, and with the conversion there is a recorded complete guide on how to assemble it, so I will be not showing this like all over again, yeah, every single detail and so on. I will share maybe some thoughts and differences I saw between mounting it in HAO against mounting it in the base TM, and I will just focus on these parts that I will be using, how they fit and so on, what do I think about their quality, yeah, and I'll try to make it fast. To not waste time, let's start with the conversion then. And before I start with mounting the parts in here, I will do one thing. There is this hexagonal nut here on the bottom of the hose connector, and I will file off the tips of it. Like, nobody has to do it, because in the latest magazines there is a cutout for those, so I believe magazines from version 2.2 on, they all will fit to the MWS system, as you can see. But I have some very old magazines also which did not have this cutout, and my team also uses some of the old ones, so I want to make sure that I can use every magazine they have. In these old ones it's good enough to just replace the feeding lips and you have a ready system, and for this feature I cannot really solve a different way than just file it off. And I'll start with the assembly of the valve. So let's take it out. It looks pretty nice. I don't need this anymore. These high flow valves are made this way, but they have this rotating part. You see that it rotates, yeah, I have a cutout here and the bottom rotates, so that I can orient this in the conversion or in the magazine this way that it's pointing upwards. So it's supposed to increase the power and basically work better. I don't know how much of this is true, but in order to assemble it correctly I need to be able to see the valve from the top. So for this reason let's take off the top. Okay, and here I should be able to set the valve. So I'm dropping this in, then the regular valve wrench, rotating backwards until it catches. It caught. You can see how this part rotates in the conversion, so somewhere close to final position, when I feel it's, let's say, closer and closer, I need to stop and I need to hold the bottom part of the valve with some tool, and then I can screw it in place. And this way I make sure that the complete hole is pointing upwards, not downwards. Yeah? If it would be pointing downwards, then it would be no flow valve or shitty flow valve. But anyway, I need to tighten it. Now it holds the position. I see it doesn't really move. Okay, and when it's in place and it looks nice in here, you can try the tightness by blowing air into the connector. To me, that's okay. And now I'm mounting this part. Yeah, so I have some Teflon lube inside. I'm dropping this part in. Maybe I should apply a bit of Teflon also into this hole. Again, let's put this in. And now I can put the pin through. Okay. Okay, so I have my pin in final position. Some lube came out this side. Let's clean it up. Okay, and again I want to blow through, check if this valve actually is not too long. Maybe now it's not tight, but it's tight, and this part has like no clearance, I would say. It's or like pushing on the valve, so I'm a bit worried when if I connect the pressure it will start to leak because maybe the valve is not completely closed. So at least I will connect it to the tank and see. Here I have it. It's connected to the pressure, obviously. And when I'm listening to it, there is no hissing or anything, so it seems like it's fine. Looks like for this moment I'm good, so let's take the seal now. How do you open this? Pretty simply. Oh, nice. There are like 4 seals, and there should be 3 of them. That's interesting. Whatever. Okay, and the seal. Nice rubbery texture. Oh, so nice. Okay, let's prepare it very quickly. If I have a closer look, like a seal, a good seal. Maybe even a navy seal. Let's put it in place, close it with the cap. Like everything fits nicely so far. And then the pin. Let's put it from this side. I always put all the pins from the same side so that I know which direction I should push them out. And this way the conversion is prepared. Pins are pushed in. Seal is in place. Everything looks fine. Then let's get to the gun. After my conversion is prepared, I need to go for the lower receiver. Normally I would modify the upper receiver with the cutout, so like on the front, that tab maybe you remember from the first part. But in case of this gun, I removed it when I was assembling the whole upper receiver. So for now I just need to take it off. Okay, one pin out. Second pin out. While the upper is resting, I can take care of the lower. For this, let's take our guns modify kit and let's unpack this properly. Okay, so first the trigger box, then these parts. Okay, the lever, the bolt catch with the spring, the file selector, which I don't use, I leave here. These additional parts, I will use them, but maybe let's leave it in a bag for the moment. And this mag catch, I'm not using it also, so it can stay. And like these parts are really solid steel parts. It looks really nice. And for my conversion, I will need to modify it, make a cutout in front, you know. I show with the cutout ready. I'll not do everything from scratch again, not to take too much time. But I want to find out what's the fitting here. Okay, because from my experience I know that the trigger boxes to the MWSs, they fit very tight. To the Noveskis there is no such issue, and I really don't like it, because if you need to remove it like 3 times, it's a nightmare. I don't know why they did it this way. So I want to find out what's the fitting in the HAO for the guns modify, because if it's supposed to be like in the TM, I'm not gonna you know, fight with it. I'm just gonna brush it off a bit, I mean the trigger box, so that it slides in nicely. Yeah, but generally I am stuck. I will have a quick look if it's not, you know, jammed somewhere, but I guess not. So yeah, probably if I hit it with a hammer it would go in all the way, so I don't want to do it. I don't want to damage anything. I don't want to, you know, leave marks. I will take it out and disassemble completely the trigger group, and as I said, I will brush off a bit of it. And it was not so easy to remove it, but you can see some scratch marks here and there on the part, and they indicate where the issues are. Yeah, so I want to fix it. I want to, you know, be able to easily assemble it and not fight with it for my life, like every time I assemble it. Because like for the modification, for the conversion anyway, I need to tape everything off, or at least cover it somehow, you know. So if I remove all the internals, it will be only easier because I don't have to be so careful, and then it's enough to just clean everything up. Yeah, so I'll take out these 3 screws. Come on. Like, this is a really nice and solid stuff that I have here. I really like it. Okay, I believe I should have it this way. Now let's try to open it. Maybe lift it a bit. Maybe from this side. Doesn't want to come apart so easily. Okay, it came apart. What do I have here? Like, for this side, I need to remove those parts. Maybe starting from the spring. How do I do it? The selector one is simple, but this one is pretty strong. Maybe starting with the pin. Okay. Then I can take it out. I can take this one out. Okay, much easier. And now this side where there's more parts, I see the spring fell off already from the hammer. Nice. The trigger also nice. Okay, although I don't really understand. Okay, it came off complete, so that's okay. Again, I don't know why they made it so complicated. I don't know why there has to be this part instead of just having a simple spring, but probably they have some reason. Okay, now the hammer. Let's push it up. Oh, okay. That's okay. So the hammer came out. This pin, I don't think we need to remove it. It can stay. In the MWS it's falling out. Here it stays in place, nice. And the full auto sear, or whatever this thing is, also let's take it out. So I have the empty frame. Yeah, these 2 pins, they are like solid. So what I should do now, basically, I should screw it back together. So one screw was here, and it was this shorter one. See, I have 3 lengths. I believe the longest one was here, and this middle one was here. Let's see if that's correct. And this way, when I have it prepared, I think I'll use some sanding paper, maybe a bit heavier one, and I'll file it off. I see also here some scratches. So I'm gonna file it off with the sandpaper. Okay, and let's see how long it takes, how much I need to go. I'll be doing this all the time, and then after I see some change in the surface, I will check again the receiver if the part goes in. I think, like, I'm looking on these scratches, they are all mainly on the bottom here. Yeah, obviously I did not push it all the way in, but I pushed it at least till, like, you know, maybe here. And there are no scratches, so it's mainly about the bottom part. So at a little angle, maybe I need some support because this feature is not helping. Okay, so let's put some wooden block underneath and let's do it. So you see that it works, and I bought this one on purpose. This is aluminum case with the steel mechanism, and there's also a version with steel case, but imagine doing this on a steel case, right? So I think anyway this aluminum one will be good enough for my purpose. So you see it's polished a bit. Let's do the other side. Okay, on this side it looks this way, so a little more. It goes much quicker because this side is, of course, less surface on touch. And after quick cleaning, let's try to push it in. You see that I almost pushed it in, and it was it was much quicker than I expected. You see that it fits really nicely, all the holes are lined. So what I'm gonna do is I replace this sandpaper with the water type one, the very fine one, and I will repeat the process with this water one to just polish it a bit, to, you know, make it a little smoother on insertion. But it's almost good. Yeah, it was really quick. So here I have it, and this one I'm gonna do only like by hand, because I don't really care about taking off any more material or anything. I just want to, you know, finish it in a nice way. It will improve the assembly just a little bit more, yeah, and that's my target. Okay, let's dry it out. I think that's good enough. Let's repeat it on the other side. And also on this side it's kind of nice. I will try to put it in the receiver again, but honestly I believe that if I just would loop the sides a bit, they would slide into the receiver just fine. Okay, let's try it. Nice, there is some small resistance, but everything works perfectly, yeah. So with this fitting I can remove it and mount it over and over again, and don't damage the body by, you know, hitting it from here to push it out like I showed in the TM modification video, and so on and so on, yeah. So that's pretty smooth, pretty nice. I need to clean this up, I need to clean the area up, and we will do the next step. And so I have my part with this beautiful sunrise. I already modified it from the front. I made the cutout for the conversion, you remember. And I'm gonna now fit them to the gun. And I'm gonna use this opportunity that it's empty right now. It will be basically easier in case I need to improve this a bit or whatever. It will be very easy, as I don't need to really do much more cleanup. For the reason which I already explained, that there is a complete guide on how to mount this, I will not repeat it. I will just show you when this is in the gun. And I am back. I prepared everything for mounting the conversion, but actually when I was working on this I found some issues, and I want to show you, or maybe explain what exactly was wrong and how I fixed it. I did not record solving all these issues because it took a lot of time, yeah, and it would be like many hours video, yeah, far too long. So I already tried to assemble it, everything worked, so that's how I know that all these improvements work. So the first issue I found is in the set from Guns Modify itself, because what happens is if you pull the trigger like this and then you cock it like the bolt carrier group would and release the full auto sear, the trigger was not going back. You see, it doesn't reset. Yeah, I need to push it so that it resets. And this is pretty annoying, yeah, because when shooting on semi you don't have the reset of the trigger. And again, no reset until I push. So for this I polished the inside of this case the same way I did it on the outside, and it was good enough, yeah. And then I lubed it. Right now it's dry, so it's still catching and blocking, let's say, but it was okay, yeah. And I will relube it afterwards, it will be fine. Okay, so this is the first thing. And the second thing is here with the full auto sear. So we have this full auto sear, and when the hammer is cocked, yeah, the full auto sear blocks it, yeah. It happens always, like you see, yeah. And the Angry Gun bolt carrier group was not traveling so much to the front to really put it down. And after I solved this initial issue with the trigger not resetting, I had the issue that it was resetting but the hammer was not released anyway, and this was because of the full auto sear. If I pushed it with the forward assist, I mean the bolt carrier group, if I pushed it with the forward assist, it would reset the hammer because I would push it into this final position. I think the issue is with the hop-up rubber that I'm using, the Modify X-Range, that is not really fitting to Array Tech nozzle, and the whole assembly stops just a bit too soon, and for this reason it cannot really push on it the proper way. Yeah, you see here how the full auto sear engages the hammer, yeah. So I filed off just a bit of the tip of the hammer, so to make the full auto sear release the hammer just tiny bit earlier when the bolt carrier group is in proper position. In practice I'll see how good this solution is. Maybe over time it should be better and better and better. The bolt carrier group probably will travel easier, it will travel, you know, till the final position, if everything breaks in, so I don't believe I need to really like do a lot here. Regarding this trigger reset, for this I also think that it's matter of breaking in, and the actions I did are, let's say, to make it work right now, but over time I think it also would start to work. But hard to wait until it starts to work if you cannot even shoot, right? So I did it anyway. Other than this, everything was fine. I'm not putting in this second type of trigger that goes here next to the full auto steer. I don't know why they have it in Tokyo Marui, these 3 parts, but I see no reason to do it. And it adds to the friction of the complete mechanism. So with those parts, this reset works even worse. Without it, it's perfectly fine. So for this reason, I'll assemble everything into the gun, and first I'll do the bolt catch, which has nice feature. The spring sits here, doesn't fall off. I like it, yeah, and it goes into the position. Okay, and then the arm goes into the position here. And I will put this trigger box into the gun. I don't need these screws for setting the trigger for now. I will wait some time. I will make be like 1000 rounds or something for the complete mechanism to break in a little more, because it's a little annoying for me that, you know, I cannot really set it the way I would like to or something because, you know, of the issues I faced. Okay, so I'm dropping this into the receiver, and together with it will go the conversion. And on the conversion I had to file off 0.3 of the tip of this valve pusher, because another thing happened. I call this issue dry farting. It means that when you pull the trigger, the gun doesn't shoot, it just do like and nothing happens. And this is because the reset spring for the hammer is pretty strong in the box, and how this trigger is constructed, it has low torque actually because it rotates, and when it hits the valve knocker, it's very close to the center and there is not much force exerted on the valve knocker. So if it does not have some initial travel to, let's say, get some speed when it hits this valve, it just doesn't have the strength needed to push it because of the pressure on the other side. So without the pressure, it works, it pushes on the valve. If you blow through it, it works. But with the pressure, it's not shooting, or it's doing this. So remember, dry farting. And while testing all of these, I noticed one more thing, which is that the screw that Guns Modify added to the kit, I understand that this screw should go in here. It doesn't really fit to the receiver from HAO. Yeah, so if you look down there, here, there is that hole and this screw doesn't go in. I didn't try to force it because if it breaks or something, it will be hard to remove it. But now, as the time for these kind of interesting experiments came, let's see if I can screw the screw in on its own. And I'm trying, the screw is in there. So I'm trying, the screw is in there, but it's like really going so hard that I think I will break it. Yeah, so I don't want to use this screw. I don't know the reason why it's like this. Something's definitely wrong here. But the screw is M3, and this is by, let's say, 10. Yeah, this is M3 by 10. So what I think I will do is I will take a different screw, maybe a shorter M3, and then I won't have to force it all the way so deep. Let's see. Actually, if I insert the screwdriver into this hole, so it gets full of magnetized steel debris. So maybe first I'll clean this hole and then I will try again with this screw. I'll be replacing the M3 by 10 with an M3 by 8. And let's throw everything in. Okay, so the conversion is in place. Now the trigger box goes in place and the pin for it. Okay, the pin is in. The pin for the Guns Modify, because that pin is from that kit, is like maybe just a tiny bit too short, yeah, but overly it's fine. So then I can drop in the screw. When the screw fits there, I can put away all these remaining parts from the Guns Modify. And what is left, because I, let's say, know that it will work. I already tested it. We'll be assembling the mag catch and the fire selector. I will maybe start with the fire selector, which is also done very nicely. Although, if you look on this side, it's like scales on the fish. I don't know if you can really see this, maybe from close-up. Yeah, you see it's like fish scales on the fire selector. It looks pretty weird. All these parts in general, they like scream with quality, but this kind of strange things happen. I will paint the gun anyway, maybe it will not be that disturbing, but it looks pretty weird. Would be good to lube it before the assembly. Really nice steel heavy part. Can put it in, and then I need to go to this side, move away the disconnector, then move away that pin. Okay, and rotate the fire selector until it jumps in. Okay, and it's on the correct side. You can also assemble it upside down, yeah, so that it's on top, but I knew what I was doing, let's say. Okay, we also have this kind of washer and fire selector for this side. I don't know if I need this washer, honestly, but if I have it, then let's put it and secure it with a screw. This is a free screw. I don't think you really need to Loctite it. Okay, so like this seems okay. And the last thing will be the mag catch. And this is one of these mag catches, like I don't really like them because very often they get opened by your webbing and they drop the magazines, yeah? But let's see how they solve it here. Maybe a real copy is better than an airsoft one. And what I see already is that it's at quite of like, you see that when there will be a surface in the receiver here supporting it, this part will go a lot inside. I remember this from ages. It was always the problem. If the receiver had no wall on this side to, let's say, support it opened, yeah, partially opened, then it was falling in and the magazine could not be inserted. Let's see how they solved it here. I already predict a problem. So you can see by the shadow that I am right, yeah? So it will be very, very bad, but what I see here is actually something seems to be nice, because there is some tiny screw here. If I understand its purpose correctly. Oh yeah, nice. You can set it with this screw to a position that you like or works for you. And this way you can maybe avoid this issue. Let's see how it looks like. Yeah, you see that I screwed it in and it's much better now. However, anyway, from the bottom, this is flat, and for this reason I know that it will be jamming on the magazines, because magazines, they are thin shell on the top, there is no guiding, so it will not slide over them, it will, you know, be caught. So I will need to file it off anyway. Let's see how much. And to see how much, I at least need to partially assemble it so that it's, let's say, in the natural position. Of course, I can set that screw I showed to have it in some proper orientation, let's say, or like position, but I don't believe it will solve the problem completely. Okay, so I could tighten the screw just a bit more to have it even flatter, let's say, like 1 millimeter more. And then I will need to file it anyway. So let's remove it and let's set it up correctly and file the lever. I did what I thought necessary, yeah? So just a bit of the edge so that it's not sharp, plus the chamfer on the side of this locking feature. I set it into the position. I hope it will be okay now. What is left is to check it. So okay, and it's set. You see that it fits quite nicely now. The magazine like sits correctly. The release, hard to do one-handed, but works obviously. So you can see that this one worked. It's assembled, it's pretty nice. What is left is the trigger guard. And for trigger guard, the usual process. I will show the result. There will be nothing spectacular here. Before I'm back with assembled lower, I want to show you one thing regarding the bolt carrier group assembly. Probably those of you who knows something about the MWS system already noticed it. I did not place any spring in here, yeah, so this part moves. Like honestly, I don't know what's the reason for this part to move, but it moves. And it should go back with a spring, but I had no spring in my parts. And for this reason, I did not put anything in here, yeah. So I have a spare spring set from Dynamic Precision, and I can try to put the one that they have here in set. Let's see if this works. Okay, so it's this spring, and I don't really know how I shall put it in, but I believe through the hole here. You see, I have struggled because I believe this spring is just too strong. I already bent it, yeah? I will cut off like 2 coils and let's see then. Okay, so the spring is just tiny bit shorter now. Let's try to repeat it. I believe this time I can have some success here. Okay, this time I did it, so the spring is tiny bit shorter, but actually it's very strong. If you see, if I push it forward, actually the spring is like on touch. The coils of the spring are like, they have no space, so don't know what's the idea behind it, but seems it worked. And another thing that was incorrect here, when I was assembling the nozzle, you remember I took the Raytech nozzle, but I took the top guide from the kit I had, and I was wondering if the rear of this will be sealed, and it was completely unsealed. So to compress the O-ring more, you can see I inserted this black C-clip, yeah, underneath the silver part, so that it pushes it more to the rear and increases the tension on the O-ring, between the O-ring and the rear wall in the bolt carrier group. Without this was not working. And I also filed a bit this part inside on the top, so that this guide here on the nozzle doesn't have so much friction against it, because it was not going in. The spring was too weak, it was not really working. So right now you see it works pretty nice. Okay. Then what is left is the lower receiver and the hose. I will be back with assembled hose. This way I have the assembly, yeah, and the hose goes through, the trigger guards in place. I'm using this quick connector because I just want to confirm the functionality. So to confirm the functionality, I need to assemble all the parts together with looped components. I will take a couple shots, and if everything's fine, I will do the final assembly on this. First things first, so the charging handle, it requires some lube. I cleaned it up because I shot it a bit when solving these issues I spoke about, so it was a little messy already, yeah. And then we will take the bolt carrier group and do the exact same thing. And at first, because this is new gun and you know it's very solid, it has very nice anodization and so on, there is a lot of this anodization, like which appears like black dust that is polished off the parts when you shoot. So you have to be careful and clean this up once in a while so that it doesn't build up too much. Okay, this is one thing I don't like about the Tokyo Marui. The charging handle doesn't stay in place. Okay, now the lower receiver assembly. The pins are prepared. Let's do the front one first, then the rear one. And yes, like the gun is almost complete. Something is missing. Maybe something would be nice to put on the tube. Bam! What do we have here? Let's see. As this gun is such a professional build, it cannot be nothing else but the original Magpul stock, the CTR, like in the real gun. Let's see how it fits. Okay, pretty nice. Not so much wobble, acceptable level, let's say. Could say that the gun is practically finished. Only the hose assembly final touches, but let's get the pressure first. Okay, then connecting. Everything seems tight. I don't hear any sound, any noise, whatever. It's on safe, obviously. You know that before you connect any type of HPA GBBR, you need to put it on safe. Okay, let's see. Nice kick. Let's see from this side. Okay, let's see full out. The oil comes out everywhere already. Clean it up. So the last thing I wanted to assemble from the standard components was the dust cover. So let's have a look on it. The gun shoots, so I'm not afraid that I will need to remove it or anything for whatever reason. Okay. It's the Angry Gun. Okay, and I don't need this original rod because in the HAO kit there was an alternative one. Let's see how it fits. Like here, no problems. Yeah, it goes through. Let's see if this locks. Yeah, right now I don't care so much about the spring. I just want to see if it will be fitting. Okay, so seems like it fits. Since it locks, and if I pull the charging handle, okay, should be fine. So in this case I need the last bag of parts from HAO, which are these 2 pins. Actually there are like 3 pins inside. Let's take 2 of them. Let's make sure that they are all the same. Maybe something is different and should be used for different reason. But no, you see they are all more or less the same. Okay, and I need to now take this out. I need to put some tension on the spring by rotating it. So how to do it? Maybe I'll put some tension this way. Okay, I think that worked. So now I need to take the spring, take it like this, slide the rod in place. Okay, let's see if this is not too strong, if it can hold the position. Yeah, it can, so probably will be fine. Just a quick check with the charging handle. You see it works. Okay, so close it again, and I believe I need to push the pins in, so let's see how hard this is. Okay, before I finish, I want to try again that this actually works, so let's give it a try. Oh, it works, no issues. So the other pin, and they are both completely in. Let's try again. No problems. Closes, everything's nice. Okay, so the last thing really now is to finish this hose. I will make it green, and looking on how the cap for the ergo grip is done, I think I will not use it, so I will just leave it open. I could drill the grip through. I think it goes in like this. I could drill it through, maybe put the spring in it, but it's made of rubber. It will be hard to really drill through it. I don't really see the reason for now. Maybe in the future. For now I'll put it aside. The 1 pin that is left will go to the spare parts, the same the original Angry Gun axis for the dust cover, and what is left is just the hose. So let's do it. Let's do the hose. This way the gun is ready. You see the green hose, nicely finished. Fire selector in place, smart catch, trigger guard already with the screws. Everything's fine, everything works nicely. And the last thing left is to check for sure the functionality. So I'll correct the pressure here again, obviously on safe, and first some semi-shots. Nice. Some full auto shots. Nice. Semi-shots. Nice. And the last thing, just to be sure, let's see the bolt catch action. So you see it works. The nozzle needs a little bit of breaking in, I guess. You see it works perfectly. Yeah, this nozzle stuff I will look into in a moment, but the gun is functional. What I should do now, probably check it on chrono. So I set the gun for 1.1 joules on 0.28 gram BBs because I will use it as a CQB gun, that's the limit. You see that I also removed the protection foil finally from my chronometer. This is a very big advance in the overall performance, technology and so on. Okay, and now the rate of fire. Pretty nice. So you've seen how the gun shoots. The performance is quite nice. 1.1 joules my setting. I will show you one more thing and explain regarding the NPAS. Yeah, so let's have a look inside. Here is the ArrayTech stock nozzle. I didn't do any modification to it. If you look inside, you will see this gray part here that moves. Yeah, this is the valve. And right now I set it to show you this is the maximum setting. Yeah, so if you remember from my other videos, when the valve is moving back and forth, like the longer travel it has, the more power you will have. So here we are at the maximum setting in the nozzle. It's this position, you see it could be all the way back here, increasing your energy, but for some reason it's not. I believe this is due to how they designed this magnetic system, and I think this is very poor. Yeah, this is a very bad solution for the HPA GBBRs. Maybe on green gas it works, I have no experience to say. But what I can say is that this gun in the setup you've seen reaches only 1.3 joules at 0.28 gram BBs, and it already has the tight bore barrel. So this is kind of poor result on this ArrayTech. If this ArrayTech could move like, you know, till here, I believe you would easily go up to 2 joules, but you cannot. So in the future I'll try the Angry gun. I know that they also make the NPAS, maybe it's made in a better way, it's not magnetic if I'm not mistaken. And I will also try to make a homemade NPAS. When the video will be out, you can have a look. Yeah, but for now, like, I'm fine with it, because finally I want to have this gun for CQB. I have the 1.1 joule, this is the limit in my area. That's perfectly fine. But if you want to play an MWS with this barrel length and this ArrayTech nozzle on HPA, then probably you are not able to reach much more. As I said, 1.3 joules, that's what I got. And regarding the rate of fire, it has like 13, let's say, BBs per second, which is pretty nice for a GBBR on HPA. You know that the old VFCs reach this value, the newer VFCs, they are like 10 rounds per second mainly. You can speed them up a bit, but it depends on your setup. The WEs were much faster, yeah? So this is kind of nice balance. Please remember that I put in the hardest kicking elements I could, so there is a lot of mess, a lot of resistance, so this rate of fire is pretty limited. But I like it anyway, so for my purposes it's okay. So this step is finished, and I believe this episode is also finished. You would say, okay, so you build the gun, so is it? But it's not, because I will make another part in which I will show what will happen next with the gun, so be sure to not miss it. And not to miss it, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave me likes, leave me your comments, let me know what you think about these videos, and you will meet me in another episode. Thanks. May the power of GBBR be with you.